Squad. What up, party people? Welcome back to another episode of Hood Talk. Let's get it. Today's news in the hood, I will be speaking on an inmate who's been falsely accused of murder, and now he's sitting on death row, all because he was hanging with the wrong crowd. Sit back, get your popcorns ready. It's gonna be a good one, y'all.
Herman Lindsay was raised in the 1980s in Pavano Beach, Florida. He had a dysfunctional upbringing, which set Herman down a difficult path for his future.
I was the oldest of like 3 siblings, and my mom worked 2 jobs, so I had to stay home watching my sisters and brothers most of the time growing up. I didn't get out much, and I was just a great student until I got older.
In 1994, at 21 years of age, Herman lived out of home in an apartment in Fort Lauderdale, which he shared with his new wife, Nikki. Herman's cousin, Ronnie Loray, would visit regularly and stay in the apartment with the couple. Ronnie had a criminal record for theft, but things became serious when he was connected to a murder at a pawn shop. Detectives sought out Herman for information.
When I first heard about it, it was a detective who came in to see me, and he wanted to question me about it because he said that my godbrother/cousin had something, he believed had something to do with it, and he wanted to know if I knew anything about it. I know at the time it was a bunch of younger guys from an area in Fort Lauderdale breaking into pawn shop, robbing pawn shops and stuff like that. And my godbrother was actually involved in some of that. His name is Ronnie Loray.
On the morning of April 19th, 1994, sometime after 9:30 a.m., 2 men entered the Big Dollar pawn shop on West Sunrise Boulevard in Fort Lauderdale. During the course of the robbery, the shop clerk, Joanne Mazzolo, was tied to a chair and shot in the head, killing her instantly. Shortly thereafter, around 10:30 a.m., the owner, Gerald Singer, phoned the store. But when Joanne didn't answer, he drove to the shop and found her body in the back room. The cash drawer was empty, and firearms and jewelry were stolen from the safe. Herman's cousin, Ronnie Loray, had a criminal record of robbing pawn shops, quickly making him a prime suspect. In October 1994, Herman provided a taped statement to police in which he implicated Ronnie Loray in the crime. Herman cooperated with the officer and stated he was not involved in the robbery or murder.
In fact, in time, they told me I wasn't a suspect. They just wanted to know if I knew anything about it, and that they believed that him and some other guys was involved in it, and they was trying to find out who was involved in it. When they actually first came to me and was asking me, I was very cooperative with them and things like that, and at none time did they suggested that I was involved.
Due to insufficient evidence, no charges were laid, and the case went cold for many years. It wasn't until 12 years later that this murder would come back to haunt Herman. Public defender Jeffrey Anderson would later come to defend Herman in court.
In this particular case, they had a lead detective who didn't think they had enough evidence to prosecute Herman. And so I think it was for 2 years, he did a lot of investigation, and he still couldn't come up with the evidence. And then the investigation stopped for quite a long time. And it wasn't until much later on that a new detective got on the case. And he got some additional evidence, but I don't think it was significant. But he still decided that it should be prosecuted. So that was the primary reason in this case for the long delay. Initially, the lead detective didn't think they had sufficient evidence to try Mr. Lindsay for the murder.
In December 2005, Ronnie Loray was arrested for a traffic infringement, and his fingerprints were taken by police. His prints were run through the database and were found to match those at the crime scene at the Big Dollar pawn shop. Ronnie was arrested for the robbery and murder of Joanne Mazzolo.
In Herman's trial, the evidence showed that there was a better suspect, but it was a person that Herman associated with, a person named Ronnie LeRae. And they had, his fingerprint was in a place where the fingerprint shouldn't have been. The murder occurred in a pawn shop. You have the front part of it that's open to the public, and then you have the rear part of it that's never open to the public. And Mr. LeRae's fingerprint was found in the rear part, which made him a suspect. And Herman associated with Mr. LeRae. So that's, you know, I think they were investigating both of them. I think he remained a suspect, and I think they were also investigating other possibilities.
And the oddest thing I find, now that, and I never spoken about this, is that in 2005, they arrested Ronnie LeRae. Ronnie LeRae had been incarcerated since 1994. And they saying that finally in 2005, they was able to get a match on his fingerprint, saying that his fingerprint was never in APHIS, which is the database that holds fingerprints. But once you're arrested, your fingerprints automatically go in that system. So once he was arrested in 94, his fingerprints has been in there all this time. And over all these years that has passed, the detectives, I'm sure they ran, it even said that they ran his fingerprints. So now they use that as something newly they discovered to go forward with prosecuting the case and going to get indictments.
Ronnie's fingerprint match was significant new evidence that enabled the prosecutor to progress with the case. At the time, Herman was in prison, serving a sentence for an unrelated crime. Having remained a suspect over the years, detectives again questioned Herman about the murder, but he couldn't recall the details he'd provided 12 years earlier in his 1994 statement to police.
And when they questioned me, they said that because I couldn't answer the questions that they was asking me, they said because I couldn't say those same answers, it was suspicious. After 12 years, if something's not significant to you, you're not going to quite remember. Instead of fabricating things, I just was like, I don't remember. Or, I was trying to answer best to my knowledge. That wasn't good enough for him. He said that I was very suspicious.
What Herman didn't know was that his former cellmate, Mark Sims, had informed police that Herman had confessed to the crime. In May of 1994, Herman and Mark were both incarcerated and had a macho prison conversation about crimes they'd committed. Allegedly, Herman made a comment to Mark about killing someone, but he had no idea what Herman was referring to. 12 years later, Mark came forth with this information in exchange for a lighter sentence for an unrelated charge. This statement put the wheels in motion for a case against Herman.
What they used to get the grand jury indictment was Mark Sims, who was actually in 94, he was actually listed as a suspect in the case.
There was a conversation he had with a person named Mark Sims, which Mark Sims said was macho talk. Two inmates in prison or in jail just talking. And Sims said, I committed a robbery and the person's going to be a witness against me. And Herman said something like, you should have killed that person.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed the episode, and until next time, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, get in that comment section, hit the notification bell so you can be alerted when I upload more videos. Superfly Entertainment presents, we're not the talk, we're hood talk. If you know someone that's struggling with mental health, mental illness, do not be afraid to offer them your assistance. We out.
STP.